Hi everybody. Hi, my name is Tabitha and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about the things that I think I learned, or the both negative and positive things that I learned doing a master's or going to a graduate school and doing a master's degree. And I think things that I wish I sort of knew before doing my master's was that it was really going to be a heavy load. Like, I think I underestimated how heavy the load would be and how much reading and work you needed to do, and that was required. So just a little bit of a background. So when I moved to the Netherlands, I did my first master's here, and it was just a master. So it was a 1-year master. And then I knew I wanted to do my PhD, and for me to do a research master in the field that I was in, which was theology and gender, I needed to do a 2-year research master. And that was something that I didn't know prior to coming here. So then what I did was I then got accepted at I got accepted at a university in the Netherlands to do a master. However, I couldn't secure a full scholarship for me to continue. And as some of you will know, like most universities here in the West, the international student school fees are usually way higher than the school fees for the natives, you know. So for me, it was like, oh, between these universities, and I got a scholarship, a full scholarship at another university in Belgium, which allowed me to do the research part of my master's. So I ended up doing another master's so I could get into a PhD. And now I'm actually doing a joint PhD with both universities, where I did my one master's and the other master's. Now, you know, the interesting thing was, like, in one university, I think it was a lot of theory based and more teaching you how to think on your own and doing a lot of reading in your field. And it also allowed me, by the time I was doing my second master's, I think it enabled me to figure out which field and which direction I wanted to go in my career or in my thought process. So I think something that I think I didn't think about per se was that during graduate school, it was going to be so much of a heavy load of so much reading and so much work, so much writing. So you're spending more time in your head, so much time in your thoughts. And that was quite hectic. And the second part of it was how fast-paced actually the programs actually are. You have such a short period of time to learn so much. So because of that, you just have this fast pace of learning where you have courses, assignments, exams, papers, reading. And there's always constantly so much to do and so much to learn. And I think that was something that I really didn't know how to do. But I think during my master's, I was able to really do that, to learn how to move really fast at the pace. So if there's a deadline, you're doing that. And then the third thing, I think, because of the fact that it's really fast paced and because of the heavy load of work that you have to do, you are not going to make as many friends as you thought that you would. I remember I thought, hey, I'm going to study abroad. The Netherlands is so international. Belgium is so international. They have so many international students. I'm probably going to make like 1 million friends within class, and I'm going to be like all over with friends everywhere. But that actually ended up not being like that, because I had to be in class, I had to be reading, I had to be writing assignments, I had to be doing so much that it wasn't as easy to make friends as I thought. Because I think the thing about friendship that I think we don't practically think about is that friendship is really something that you invest in. So if you're investing something, somebody has to invest back, and it's a reciprocal relationship. So if you're not investing as much, then you're not going to receive as much as you think that you should. So I think for me, this was also like something that I had to realize, that whichever friends I made, even if it was 1 or 2, I was like, yeah, thank God. But I had so many people I did meet, but for me to call them friends, not really. No, I wouldn't really call them friends. I would just call them acquaintances or people that I knew. Then the other thing is it requires more like personal thought. I think the whole time that I think when you're doing a bachelor, you're constantly just learning. They're being given so much information. There isn't really so much that you're doing where you're thinking about, oh, what am I gonna do with this information? But I feel like in your masters, you're more like really thinking about what can I use the information that I'm learning for. So what can I use this information for? How can I apply it to my life? How can I apply it to different aspects of my life, my friendships, my relationships, or just in general, how I see the world? And a lot of what you're going through, a lot of what you're feeling, a lot of what you understand, a lot of the things that you actually do learn becomes something that really alter the way that you look at the world. I really feel like the masters alters the way that you look at the world, how you understand the world, how you reason, and that's actually quite great. Is that I learned the sixth thing was, get to know your supervisors. I think ask them. Don't be scared to ask questions. Like even if people are gonna think you're like a teacher's pet, like ask questions, practically think about what they say. Send them that email to be like, hey, I want to find out about this and this and this, or blah, blah, blah. They love that. That's their job. Their job is to help you in your thought process. So don't be scared of asking questions. Don't be scared of like getting close to your supervisors, because their job is to help you. So when you don't understand something, be sure to ask. Don't just take it for granted and just sit with your friends and talk about how you didn't understand anything in a course. That is never helpful. The most helpful thing you could actually really do is talk to your supervisor and explain like, hey, when you were talking about this, I really didn't understand what you were talking about. So maybe can you help me and can you explain this to me further? Because even this example really didn't resonate to me, And I think one of the things about coming from a different continent and learning in another continent or a different culture is a lot of the examples that they will give are not things that are so natural to you. A lot of examples that they'll give will not be very natural to your understanding. So in such a regard, it is okay to be like, hey, in my country, I have something similar like this. Is it the same thing? So that, because learning is actually, you're constantly making connections. You're making connections in your mind. If someone says this, you're connecting it with something else. If someone says something, you're connecting it with something else. And because of that, because you are constantly making these connections, even when you're learning, you want to make sure that you're making the right connections to something so that you fully understand what you're learning. Or else you are learning something but not fully grasping it, and you just cram for the exam and not really learn. So yeah. And so in that regard, I think ask a lot of questions. I will end my video here. These are, I think, a few lessons that I learned while doing my master's. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and see you in my next video. Bye.